All right. Welcome to the Crushing Debt Podcast. This is episode 403. Is life insurance, is it worth it? All right. This is George Cabello. Welcome to the podcast. George Cabello, your financial coach. And Sean Yesner is usually running the ship. He is out this week and he's trusted me with the keys of the podcast. So this is going to be horrible as it's the first time doing this, but we're going to have some fun because I have an excellent guest that we will help us kind of fill in the big shoes that Sean usually runs from a host perspective each week. We'll go right into who I'm talking about. I am talking about, it's Paola Rodriguez. She is a wealth building and insurance expert. I'm going to say a little nice thing about her and then we'll bring her in and start the interview from that perspective. So Paola is a proud native of Dominican Republic. She's obtained the bachelor's degree in business from the University of Florida. So right away, Paola, if Sean was here, he'd be like, because he's a Seminole, so we got problems already there, but sorry about that. But she majored in marketing and minored in entrepreneurship. She's an active member of the Tampa Bay community. She is one of the founding members of the Tampa Bay Latin Chamber and serves on the board of the Hispanic Professional Women's Association. She comes from a huge, close-knit family. They serve as a driving force to her to fulfill her personal mission of helping people create freedom in their life so they can share joy with others. She's an avid traveler, 17 countries and counting. So that's pretty amazing. I think I've got one in USA. So you're already, where are you beating me there? And she loves to challenge her body with weightlifting, arco yoga, and pole fitness. So again, great questions to ask already there. But prior to insurance, she's accumulated extensive experience in business development and employee benefits. In her 5 years of insurance in the insurance industry, she's helped hundreds of families protect their health and financial nest egg through health insurance and has over 500 active clients. She leads a team of virtual assistants and independent agents and is actively looking to expand her team. Please join me in welcoming Paola Rodriguez. How are you?
Good. How are you, George?
Doing well. It's the holiday season. This is with the recording dropping. This will be the last episode of the year, so we save the best for last. The dumpster fire in your host and a great guest in yourself. So, but welcome.
No, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to just talk about life insurance and how answer this very important question that we have. So thank you so much for having me.
I'm so curious because the only thing I keep hearing is life insurance is important. We have to have it. And we're here asking the question, is it worth it? So I'm assuming as an insurance expert that you have somewhat of an opinion when it comes to this topic itself. But again, I'll ask the initial kind of question itself. Why are you so passionate about insurance?
Yeah, so I got into insurance because it was a really great wealth building opportunity to build a business and to have a book of clients and have kind of residual income. But I stayed in insurance because there's so many things that happened in my family. Actually, my mom went through autoimmune encephalitis, which is swelling of the brain. She had 6 hospitalizations. It was a crazy year for us. After $800,000 worth of medical bills, she actually got better, and she's 100% better. The only thing that's different is her hair. She has this really beautiful afro now. But she, it was very, very scary. We were in a situation where, thank goodness, we had insurance, and we were able to just pay the max out of pocket. If we didn't have insurance, we would have been in a situation where, do we sell all her assets, on all my dad's assets, and maybe even my house, in order to be able to provide the medical care that she needed. And it happened a few years ago, but it's still, kind of putting myself in the situation still makes me a little bit emotional, because it is something that happens with people. I know people see GoFundMe accounts all the time, and it's something real that happens to people. I mean, my mom, she's the healthiest person. She has 12 siblings. She's the healthiest one in all of her. Yeah, she's the healthiest one. And, I'm talking juicing and walking 30 minutes a day and all that stuff. And I asked her, I was like, Mom, like, how does it feel like you did all the right things and you took care of your health and you did all the right things and that still happened to you? And she goes, I'm actually glad that I was the one that endured that, because I was strong enough to be on the other side of that. And I
Right.
was just like, oh my God, like she's the light of my
Crying.
life. Like
Is
I was
that
like,
you?
it makes me like teary eyed just to talk about it, right? And so um, it's something that even though you're doing the right things, you're taking care of your health, anything can happen.
Yeah,
And
there's no
so
guarantees. Absolutely with
yeah,
that. So
and that's what makes me so passionate, protecting families. And they're my parents never made a lot of money. I don't think my dad ever made over $150,000 ever in his life, and in a year. And so he just made the right decisions. And so he's made the right decisions, built a really great, retirement for himself. And for that to go away, with a snap of a finger with like a medical issue would be devastating. So I'm passionate about helping families make sure that they're protected, that they get the medical help that they need. So yeah. Uh,
it's an amazing story, and again, all too common, in the United States itself when it comes to insurance and being lucky or not being lucky itself. Most people who go for bankruptcy, a lot of the times it's medical debt. It's the
mhm.
debt of trying to stay healthy, trying to stay alive, and you're basically putting all of these things because it's important. Obviously, living and having our loved ones around for as long as possible. So again, I can start seeing the importance of insurance in those situations itself. But I mean, for you, you have a personal connection to that. But why is insurance important? We talk about life insurance. We'll get into that one. But why do you think insurance is that important when it comes to our building our wealth and building that foundation?
Yeah, it's protection, right? So the biggest thing is making sure that you're doing the right things to protect your income. And putting money away is great, but if you don't have something to protect that money, that can go away in the snap of a finger. Like I know a guy right now that's in his 40s that he's still paying for an appendectomy that he had in his 20s. And so
Wow.
it could be and there are ways to, like, if you don't have insurance, to get a reduction, right, in the bills that you pay. However, you have to show you don't have income or you have minimal income, so that might not be the case for some people. And then also uh, there are times where people have not gotten the medical care that they need because they didn't have insurance
Right.
to pay for a surgery, like an organ transplant, or like something that is not dire to keep them alive, but eventually
It
they
will.
do need that, right?
Right.
So it's very, very important to make sure that you're protecting yourself, so that the nest egg that you're building doesn't go away with a snap of a finger, with an accident, or with an appendectomy, or an
Correct.
emergency surgery.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times too, most people, it's more of delaying those types of surgeries or the medical care that's necessary. I mean, we're not talking about, I mean, people even, I imagine even your basic doctor visits to keep things going on a yearly basis. Most people will forego that because, of course, it's, there's still an expense. So it's just, I think that's where, again, part of our lesson here too is to kind of, we need to build that foundation. So as much as we like to think we're going to be young forever, we're going to get sick. We're going to have the proper things in place where we're not going into tremendous amounts of debt in order to keep ourselves healthy and keep ourselves going. So
Yeah.
it's a great
And
great comment there.
Yeah, and George, I'm not worried about people going to the doctor. Oftentimes you can pay $50 to go to urgent care, and get the day-to-day stuff done. What I'm worried about is these big
Big
catastrophic
ones.
events that
Yeah.
happen to people, like cancer, heart attacks, strokes,
Right.
or and accidents too. Like, we live in Florida, and there's a lot of accidents here. So, if you're in a situation where, you get hit by someone that doesn't have insurance,
Yep.
or you're just putting yourself in a way better spot by having insurance in place rather than not. And there are so many things that you can do, even accident insurance. That I have some people that they're like, Paula, no, I'm not in a situation where I can't afford it. I get them a $20, $30 accident policy, and at least we have something in
Something.
place, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's just about the big stuff and about protecting yourself, because there are different things like I'm contracted with a company that allows you to get 24/7 access to doctors, even counselors and it's unlimited visits. It's only $30 a month. So, doctor visits, things like that, we can find a way to help get people care for the like day-to-day stuff. But it's the big stuff that I'm, really worried about.
That makes total sense. Again, I don't think we worry about it when we're 20, but as we go to 30 and 40 years old, that's where we start to really realize that, we're just not as young as we used to. As I'm, knocking on wood here, I'm like, okay, I'm a little older too, but I won't say how old I am. Anyway, we move on from age here. You're an entrepreneur, obviously, a lot of the focus there, but, why do you focus on helping self-employed people?
Yeah, I mean, self-employed people, they're the bread and butter of our economy. I started my sales career with ADP, the payroll company, and I went out and I was doing outside service sales with ADP and sold their payroll platform. And I learned a lot of different statistics about how important small business owners are for the economy. The economy, having a strong middle class is so important for the economy and for, to not have corruption. Like, I've been very lucky to visit countries like Australia and Brazil, and even I lived for a month in Brazil, and I noticed that where there's a lot of income disparity, there's a lot of corruption. And so if we build a strong middle class, we're going to help build the economy. We're going to help, create a better society for everyone, have less corruption, and just, it's self-employed people are the bread and butter of our economy. So I love helping small business owners, and my dad's a real estate investor too. We have my uncle just sold this dry cleaning business, and so we have entrepreneurs in our family. And my grandpa used to own a store. My grandma owned a farm, and so just it's just in our blood, I guess, too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can't work for you're your own worst boss. That's what you're saying in regard.
I tried working for other people, man. It wasn't good. It was good. It was just being self-employed, you have a lot of liberty.
Yeah.
And you have the ability to ramp up or ramp down. And so there's a lot of flexibility. Like when my dad worked for a company like 9 to 5, we barely saw him. He was
Right.
like barely around. When he got into real estate, I was like, Dad, like, what are you doing? Like, he was sitting on the couch chilling, and I'm like, like, unless he had a project, right? When he was
Right.
flipping a home, like we didn't see him, but yeah, like for
own
most of the
hours.
time he was just like hanging out. I was like, Dad, what are you up to today? Oh, I might cut the grass.
We'll get there.
I was like,
I do love it. Well, I mean, you hit upon a good a topic itself. So we'll try to throw a little worry conversation about middle class. Most people out there are kind of like, the middle class is shrinking. It's changing. The dynamic of it is changing itself. Everything is expensive. And again, you're kind of in this market where it's like, this is an additional a cost and an expense to most people out there who are already struggling that to kind of make ends meet. Why is it for folks? And again, even small business owners, we're talking individual as well as small business owners, are kind of like, hey, I got to make sure I can make payroll, I can do all of these things itself that are necessary to keep the doors open. Why is it still important to make sure that we are still thinking about insurance, life insurance, health insurance, all of these types of protections? Why we, again, our excuse is probably cut these things first because of the fact that it's like, it's not impacting me today. But why do you think that is a message to kind of say, what's your take? Let's put it like, I want to put words in your mouth. What's your take, when we hear what's happening out there?
great question. And so my take is, I rather not pay my Wi-Fi bill, my like bill for Wi-Fi and internet, rather than I rather skip out on my Wi-Fi bill, my internet bill. Sorry, Spanish. English is my second language. Sometimes
No worries.
English is hard. So, but anyway, so I rather not pay my internet bill, and rather than not pay my life insurance or health insurance. and because I can go to a coffee shop and get internet, and I could figure it out, right? It's so super important, especially as a business owner, because especially as a sole owner too, if something happens to you, all that debt is going back to your family. So now, not only are they in a position where they've lost their loved one, but now this business is coming, and a lot of times business owners, they need to be in their business in order for the business to make money, right? And so if someone's in a position like that, they've taken on debt to grow the business, which most of us have,
Right.
they're going to be putting their loved ones in a really bad situation, as well as their employees. And so we have a responsibility as business owners to set ourselves up for success, and whether or not we're there to have our family be accounted for, right? So it's going to be very different if you pass away, you leave all this debt, or you pass away and you give them a cushion in order to move forward. And also, a lot of these insurance companies have living benefits, or you can also get just a standalone policy that has benefits if a cancer, heart attack, stroke happens. That way you have a chunk of money that you can use to lighten the load, right? If you get diagnosed with cancer and you need to do chemo treatments, you're not going to be in the office six days a week. You're going to be there probably 3 days a week. And it's just something that happens. It's just, the life, right? Life can happen. And so it's very, very important to have life insurance. Also for, health insurance, if something happens, you want to be able to get the medical care you need to get better right away, so you can get back to making money right away for your team, to start making money again for you. No one wants to be sick. I feel like, all of us hardworking people, we don't want to be in a situation where we're needing to find medical care or trying to figure it out. So that's why life insurance, health insurance is so important to have, just to lighten the load for family members, but also to get a cushion in order to be able to move forward and go back to the normal working hours.
Right. I got to say, as a coach, I always tell folks, when it comes to their finances, it's very important to make sure these types of things are included. You plan for it. Again, I've went through it in my life as well. You're young, you're like, oh, life insurance, this and this and that. You don't need it. Health insurance, we're going to be healthy forever. And then my mom was always, she worked for MetLife for back in the day. Okay. For many, 20 plus years, I think forever. And she always pushed, like, you got to get something, especially when you're young, because of the fact that you're young, it's cheaper rates, you take advantage of the kind of things. But as I got older, it was, she got sick. She, had to deal with certain issues itself. And you never think you have enough when it comes to your nest egg. And the big thing that gets threatened when it comes to your, as you get older and you have to worry about that, is the nest egg itself. Will I have enough to sustain the rest of, my life, her life, from that perspective? Without those protections in place, you definitely, you put yourself in a liability. And we stress to folks itself, it's so important to think about it when you're healthy, when you're not sick, when you have those protections, because I guarantee you, the moment you need them, you're going to be grateful, or you're going to kick yourself in the butt that you didn't. And I think that's where we're trying to kind of educate and understand why that's the case. Now, let me ask you this. You're an independent broker. I'm assuming that's the right title itself. But, we've got Allstate. We've got all these guys and stuff like that, right? Why working with you? What's the difference with working like with an independent broker?
Yeah, and those companies are great. Allstate, State Farm, all those, they're really great. The thing that makes me different is that I am your shopping buddy. So I ask you a bunch of questions, and hey, what are your goals? What are your assets? How old are your kids? What kind of plans do you have for your kids? And then I tell you, okay, if you were my brother, my sister, my cousin, this is what I would want you to have. It's also based on people's health too. There are companies that see different people's health as in different situations, habits and things. So I shop everything out and make sure that people are getting the best rate and the best value for what they need, right?
Sure.
I've seen situations where there's agents, like for example, AAA. They can't sell things that don't require a medical check for some reason or the other. If they sell something over a certain amount, there requires a medical check. Well, so they'll sell two different policies, and so in I can offer more than just the captive agencies can.
Right, and they have their set playlist, right? And you have more of like you can dip into all of these types of companies and different
Mhm.
plans itself, different, what meets the needs, but at the same time shop with the rates as well, which is a big difference as well. Okay, okay,
Exactly.
so I gotta say it's important. Obviously, you've helped so many people, when it comes to health and having that nest egg, protecting that nest egg as well. Um, how do I know that I have good insurance? Like how do I know I'm protected? That's got to be the
Great
question you
question.
hear all the time, right?
Great question. Yes. So typically, it's everything is according to the person's situation, right?
Right.
Someone that is a diabetic isn't going to have the same needs as someone that's super healthy who's never gone to the doctor, right? So with insurance, you have to make sure that you're getting something that's fitting your needs. Oftentimes, it's just talking to a broker like me, reaching out and saying like, "Hey, is this good?" Because there's so many things that are changing all the time. So new policies come out, new laws and regulations and stuff. So it's hard for me to tell you, hey, you have a good policy. What I can tell you is that if you have any pre-existing conditions, you want to make sure you're on the ACA or the Obamacare plans. And pre-existing conditions are anything that you've gotten any medical care for the last 2 years. And so if, for example, you've had a stroke, or you do not want to be on anything that's not an Obamacare or a group plan. You
Gotcha.
don't want to be on a short-term plan or anything like that, because those private plans are not going to cover anything you've gotten care for in the last 2 years, right? So if you are healthy, it is okay to be on some of those plans. And actually, those plans give a wider range of network of providers. So usually they have a nationwide network of providers. So you are okay, if you're healthy, being on one of those plans. I actually have one of those plans myself, one of the,
Right.
the private
Okay.
plans. So it really depends on your situation. I hope that answers your question.
No, yeah, yeah, no. It's there. I would say the answer is it depends. It depends on
It
your
depends.
situation. It depends on your age. It depends on the what you're going through, your family situation. So, but the good thing is as an expert, as you are itself, you'll be able to understand those types of questions and be able to answer them for them to get them the right plan that fits their needs. And I'm assuming too that grows as we get older as well, because that's the important thing is not dealing with just this today's situation, but it's anticipating what the next 10, 15, 20 years is going to look like as well. That's
Yes.
amazing itself. So again, as a self-employed, as people, like how do we, because that's the big question too, is how do I save on health insurance as well? Because I feel like that's another rising cost. Everything's going up. So when we say the word save, that seems like a good indication that like okay, Paula, what are you selling? Tell me what, because I want to know more. But how do you save on health insurance today?
Yes. So there's a lot of people that aren't aware of the discounts that they can get on the marketplace. And so as self-employed people, we can do all these deductions, and our income is lower than what we're bringing into the business a lot of times. And so there are families that are able to qualify for a discount on the marketplace that you would have never thought about. I was able to help a family that they have 5 people in their family. They're making $70,000 a year, after deductions, after taxes,
Right.
and they're getting a plan for free on the
Okay.
marketplace. And
Okay.
so, there are ways for people to save on the marketplace. Also, if you're on a plan and you're on a group plan, for example, Hillsborough County Schools. So Hillsborough County Schools, it's really inexpensive for the teacher to be on the plan, but it's extremely expensive for the family to be on a plan.
Got it.
So if your employer isn't contributing to any of the family, you can put your family on a different plan and save a lot of money that way as well. A last thing I'll throw out here is if you're healthy and you're paying for a ACA plan and you're paying full price for it, you can get a private plan and save money as well. So there are, 3 different ways. Just making sure you don't qualify for a discount on the ACA. 2, getting your family on a different plan if your employer doesn't contribute to any of the health insurance. And 3 is getting on a private plan. If you're healthy, getting qualified for a private plan if you're paying full price on a major medical plan. So
Excellent, excellent. And again, so there's different, as much as we'd like to say, here's the one answer for all, and you'll be good from an episode standpoint perspective. This is the reason why you're the expert. This is the reason why people should have the conversation with you, and really understand exactly their situation and really expand on it. Before we give your contact information, I do have a question in regards to your founding membership of the Latin Chamber and again, being on the board of the Hispanic Professionals Women's Association. What's that mean to you when it comes to being part of such a Latino here? I'm Puerto Rican as well, so I'm proud member of that community. But I would say to you, like, why be part of those types of organizations and be able to give back to the community itself? What's that mean to you?
yeah, so I was born in Dominican Republic, and we came over during the Y2K crisis. My dad got a job here as a computer programmer, and so I've seen us come up. We lived in a house where it was a 2-bedroom house, one bathroom, and the way we used to entertain ourselves is, yeah, no, I mean, and we had our cousin living with us, and so it was 6 people, 2 bedrooms, and then we moved to Jersey, and then in Jersey, my mom says that he didn't, but I swear the room that my brother, like, his bed was in, that was a walk-in closet. And it totally was, and my mom's like, no, it wasn't. Anyway, but I just have seen my parents just, we where we've come from, and like where we are now, and I want to be an example. I want to empower other people. I feel it's like my responsibility to help others, other Latinos, Latinas,
Yeah.
with getting connected to opportunities and with being an example to them of what is possible. And if you work really hard and you're diligent and you do right by people. And so a lot of times when we put ourselves in a position to give, we receive a lot more.
Absolutely.
And so I've gotten a lot more out of, mentoring, and a lot out of connecting people and forming relationships with people than I expected. And so it's a really great way to, connect. And, sometimes, like, you're having a bad day and you just need to talk to somebody. And so in these organizations, I've built relationships with people where I can just, call somebody and be like, hey, how are you doing? Like, let's go grab a bite. Just, kind of talk and, seek mentorship from others too. So I think it's really important to especially find people that are in your same culture, that know what you've kind of gone through, right? That have those similarities of, like, oh, your parents grew up the same way, and then, oh yeah, in your house, like, they threw a chancla at you, which never happened in my house. Like, we were just talking about, like, my mom never hit me.
Yeah, I would say that too, but my mother would be like, she'll plead the fifth. She goes, no, I never. I was like, Mom, I remember, but she's like, no, I was the greatest. I was like, Mom, yes, you were. But, it's okay. Discipline comes in many forms. It's all good.
Yeah, no, it's funny. I remember, like, they made us kneel against the wall, like kind of like in a timeout. So we would kneel against the wall, but we never got hit, but we knew about the chancla. Yeah. We knew about it,
We knew the threats, but it was, I say it's a different way to raise kids today. Let's put it like that. But you know what? I think we turned out just fine. Our Latin community totally understands that right now. But I got to say, I'm absolutely, just interested in more, because I agree. I think it's the opportunities to give back to the community. Obviously, giving back to the Latin and Hispanic community, it's so important as well here in the Tampa Bay. It's such a growing community as well. Not only in Tampa, but obviously Jersey, New York, all throughout the U.S. as well. So I think opportunities to be able to be that example and show the importance and show really, that we can do it and we can be successful at it. And then of course, giving back is always a pleasure as well. How do people contact you if they need your help?
Yeah. So the best way is to go on my website, ourwealthgroup.com. On there, have testimonials all about me. Also, all the links to my socials. The other way is the more hip way. I guess you can add me or DM me on Instagram, and it's the powerful Paola. So the powerful Paola, Paola. That is another way to reach me as well.
Nice. Well, you have one more follower today just to
Yeah.
kind of figure out. And of course, everyone else, please follow her on all of the, again, as the old man says here, all the Instagrams and the TikToks and all that good stuff. Please go follow her and show her some love. Paola, it is absolutely a pleasure. It was a pleasure kind of talking to you, getting to know you. Is there any last words of wisdom that you'd like to dispose onto the masses here on our fine Crushing Debt podcast?
Yes. So is life insurance worth it? The answer is oftentimes yes. So if you have a family, have a legacy, have a business, it makes sense to have life insurance. If you don't have anything to your name and you don't care about what happens afterwards, then don't get insurance.
Right.
Don't get life insurance, right? If you are not interested in building a nest egg and just they can dispose of you however they want, then you don't need insurance. But
it's all me, myself, and I'll take it into the grave. Sure.
Yeah. So, but most of us, it makes sense and it is worth it. It's a lot cheaper than what people think it is.
Right.
And there are different ways to make it so that it makes sense. And it is something that's going to add a lot of value to you. So for me, I don't have kids. I don't have a husband just yet. And I put $1,000 into my life insurance every month. And so everyone's different. Everyone uses it in different ways. And I have clients that have children and they're paying $26 a month for insurance.
Right.
And so it just depends on people's situation and what their goals are. But yeah, life insurance is worth it.
There you go. So it's the protection that it brings is obviously there. There's opportunities to be able to help you in that wealth building journey that we all are on. And of course, I learned that don't pay the Wi-Fi, the Wi-Fi, and pay your life insurance, pay your insurance. Such much more important than being on the. But again, you still should support on Instagram if you have the Wi-Fi available.
The Wi-Fi. Yes.
Absolutely love it. Well, Paola, let me close out the show. We'll do some sponsorship here, and then obviously we'll close up. But thank you for being a guest on the show. It was a pleasure working with you and meeting you. And we look forward to the next time we get together. Again, I'll get Sean and I'll bring him along next time. He's the smart one. It's the lawyer guy, so we'll let him ask us some smart questions next time. We miss you, Sean. Don't worry, it's all good. All right, sponsors for the show, Sam Cohen, Attorneys First Insurance. Sam writes errors and omission insurance malpractice coverage for attorneys and title companies all over the U.S. So if you're a new attorney or new title company or even an existing one, and you have questions about your malpractice coverage, just contact Sam at attorneysfirst.com. I would like to say to everyone itself, please, obviously you're already streaming it, you're listening already, but stream it, like it, share the podcast. We want to grow the audience. If you like this episode, share it with all your folks. Get the buzz out there in regards to what the Crushing Debt podcast is all about. We have the Crushing Debt Patreon page, so if you want to support us a little bit further, want to get a little bit more information, videos like interviews like this one, they're all available through our Patreon page, so you can get more content and get more out of the podcast itself. All right, so thank you for listening to the show. Remember that we are here to help you so you have more money at the end of the month than more month at the end of the money. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you in the new year. And obviously, thanks to Sean for all of the great work. And we'll see you at the next episode of the Crushing Debt podcast.